Right, everybody, Mike here with Hardware Canucks, and I just wanted to step in front of the camera very, very quickly. Snows is behind the camera. We've got some tests going on back here. Look, this is not our usual setup. I completely understand, and you're not even going to see a lot of the Hardware Canucks crispy B-roll in this one. Why? Because I just wanted to talk very quickly about AM4 to AM5 motherboard cooler compatibility. There's so many misconceptions out there, and a lot of that started because of AMD's statement. AMD came out and they said AM5 is compatible with AM4 coolers, but there's a huge asterisk on that, and I wanted to discuss exactly that. So first of all, what is the global perspective you need to take on this? Basically, because AM5 has a backplate that cannot technically be removed, any AM4 cooler that has its own backplate that doesn't use AMD's AM4 backplate is not going to be compatible with your AM5 socket. Let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about here when it comes to AM4 to AM5 and whatnot. So on AM4, you have these two plastic retention arms right here that are held in place by 4 screws. Meanwhile, the CPU socket itself, the only thing that's there is really this little retention arm here. On the other side, that's where you have your backplate, and those retention arms, the plastic retention arms, are screwed into here in 4 points. This pops off without a problem, and it looks basically like this. Now, when it comes to AM5, you still have those two same plastic retention arms right here, but there's some additional complications. Even though those are still screwed in, the CPU socket area itself has 1, 2, 3, 4 additional Torx bolts holding it in place. And those Torx bolts, if we push this over onto the other side, are attached to the backplate itself. So you can't remove this backplate without that whole CPU retention arm on the front side popping right off. And that's why you can't remove this backplate. You hear that? That means, yes, it's going to drive up the cost a little bit more, but there's a couple of little nuances that I wanted to talk about too. So first of all is what happens if you have the typical AMD clip mount like this Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim 2. Well, guess what happens? This right now is on an AM4 motherboard. It's not completely installed, but clip system goes on from one to another, boom, boom, and you clip it on right there without a problem. Yes, it's not installed on this side, but here we go. 100% compatible if it is using that clip style mount, because the new AM5 socket includes the exact same clips. There's a couple of other things that need to be discussed too, and I wanted to go into those. So we're gonna just take this guy off here. There we go. And next up, what happens if you have your typical cooler? So let's talk about the Noctua U12 Redux. This is it right here. Because Noctua has, ever since the AM4 socket was around, been reusing that backplate from the AM4 motherboards, it is going to be compatible. So let's check it out. And I know some people have watched a couple of other videos out there that said the Noctua coolers are not compatible. They absolutely are. So let's do this really, really quickly. All right, so there it is, Noctua U12 series installed on AM5. What you do need to know though is that there are some Noctua coolers that are not actually compatible with AM5, and those are their L9 series. The reason those are not compatible is I actually have a thermal right cooler here that's going to give you a good example as to why. So a lot of low profile coolers, they want to maximize the amount of fin area that they have on the cooler itself. So what they do is they do a backplate mount where you actually secure something like this. I'm going to bring it in front of the camera here. Come on, focus. There you go. So you're going to see that this has 4 studs that come up that go through the back of the motherboard, and then you attach either a backplate here or a couple of screws. This is not compatible because, once again, there is that non-removable backplate on AM5. The only thing with Noctua is actually the fact that their L9 series is installed the exact same way, but unlike a lot of other manufacturers, they're going to be offering a free upgrade kit. On the flip side of that, there's a lot of other low-profile cooler manufacturers, and let's be honest, this is a pandemic almost in the low-profile cooler range because of the fact that most of them do install from the back. So the Alpenfin Blackridge, a lot of the Thermalright coolers, you have a lot of the ID cooling heat sinks out there, they're all installed from the back of the motherboard. And a lot of those guys are not offering the free upgrade kits like Noctua is right now. The other area that is not compatible are, like I was saying before, any tower style cooler. So let me see this one. This is the Hyper 212 Black Edition. This has a mount that it looks like it's going to mount directly to the AMD backplate, right? So it looks like almost the exact same spacing, everything else, but it actually doesn't. It uses a custom AMD backplate. This is something, like I was saying before, that is not compatible with the new AM5 socket. But then there's a lot of other companies themselves whose customer support is actually saying, hey, look, you need to actually buy a new cooler in order for you to be compatible with AM5, just because the present ones might not have official AM5 certification. That is a great way to you over and make a quick buck. Great example is Scythe. Scythe, their customer service has been emailing people who have been asking about AM5. Is the Fuma compatible? Is the Fuma 2 compatible? Is the Fuma 2 Revision B compatible? And they said, no, you have to come and wait for the Fuma 3. That is absolute and positive bullshit. In addition to that, we have been running, guess what? One of my favorite coolers of all time, the Fuma 2 OG, the original one, this whole time on an AM5 motherboard, and it is basically right here. Look at this. So these two retention arms right here are from the original Fuma mounting kit. It isn't technically AM5 compatible, but because guess what? It reuses the stock AMD backplate on AM4 and now is compatible with AM5. This thing right here, guys, this mounts without any issue whatsoever. The mounting pressure is perfect and the performance is actually really, really good too. So I guess this brings me to the end of this video. I know I've got so many things scattered across the desk right here in front of me, but I needed to get this on camera as soon as possible to head off any misinformation at the pass. So the big takeaway from this video is if your cooler replaces the AM4 backplate, then it is not compatible. It doesn't matter if it's an AIO, it doesn't matter if it's an air cooler, it doesn't matter if it's a potato, it will not be compatible. On the other hand, if your cooler reuses the AM4 backplate, it will be compatible. It doesn't matter if it has clips, if it has studs, if it has a crossbar, it'll be okay. So anyways, I hope that this video informed you a little bit. It might have cleared up a couple of questions that you might have. I'm Mike with Hardware Canucks, and I guess I will see you in the next one.